No matter how much planning you do, projects rarely go the way you expect. That's because risk is part of the game in project management. And here's the good news. Identifying and managing those risks early can make the difference between a project that flounders and one that flourishes. I've been involved in thousands of projects in my career, either as a project manager or as a consultant. And over, I see the same risks derail the best laid plans. I've lost track of how many PMs I've coached on cleaning up projects when they didn't identify and plan for risk. To help you avoid that kind of headache, I'm going to break down the most common project management risks and teach you how to tackle them before they snowball. Unrealistic deadlines. Okay, what is it? Well, an unrealistic deadline is setting project timelines without fully considering the complexity of the work involved. So why does this even matter? Because unrealistic deadlines lead to rush work, burnout, and poor quality. So how do you avoid all of this? Well, you want to build a realistic project schedule with input from your team and key stakeholders. You do this with a good kickoff meeting. Think of it like a workshop with your project team where you build out the details of your action plan by breaking down major activities into actionable tasks. And don't forget, with assigned responsibility and due dates. Now next, from there, you're going to take those action tasks and due dates and you're going to put them into a project schedule so you can see how all the tasks work together and with each other. The goal here is to confirm that every assigned due date is realistic. Now, you need to think about unexpected events that may happen. To deal with them, you've got to make sure you build in buffers. So what is a buffer? It's a block of time that you add on top of your schedule to account for unexpected delays or additional items. Now, take note, when you add buffers, you are adding to the overall timeline. So like here's an example. If I had an 8-week project and I added 1 week buffer to give myself some insurance, then I'd actually have a 9-week project. Now, one more thing I also recommend is to pull out an after action review from a previous project. You want to check if there's anything that's popped up in past projects that you haven't planned for in your current project. Before we dive into the next risk, I've got something you won't want to miss. Have you checked out my free webinar yet? If you have ever felt stuck or overwhelmed in mid-project, chances are it's because some key steps were skipped right at the beginning. In this training, you will walk through exactly how to set up your project for success from day one. It's packed with practical tips you can start using right away. The link is down below. Don't wait to check it out. It's free and it may just be a game changer you need. Scope creep. What is it? Well, it's uncontrolled changes or continuous growth in a project scope without proper approvals. It happens when projects start to take on more work than originally planned, often without formal approval. It can start really small, like adding just one more thing, but before you know it, the project is way off track. So why does this matter? Because scope creep can derail timelines, budget, and team morale. It's a project manager's nightmare because it completely can throw off your timeline, blow out your budget, and leave your team feeling burned out and frustrated. So to make sure you stay clear of scope creep, you want to start with a crystal clear scope statement at the beginning, making sure your scope statement is super detailed. Everyone should know exactly what's included and what's not. The more specific you are, the easier it is to spot when something is outside of the original plan. Next, you want to set up a change control process. Changes are not bad. They just need to be handled the right way. Now, I go into detail and provide the template in my online course, but for you guys, so I don't leave you hanging when you receive a change request, just make sure to quickly respond with, why is this change being requested, along with the pros and cons, budget impact, etc. So you can vet it out against the project charter to see if it aligns with overall strategy. What you're really doing here is establishing a process to review and approve changes. We do this because sneaky additions are not allowed. Education is also really important here too. You want to introduce a change control form at the beginning of your project so everybody is fully aware of what to expect if they request a change. Poor communication. So what is poor communication? Well, poor communication shows up when expectations aren't clear, updates are vague, and important information does not get shared. So why does communication even matter? Well, because poor communication leads to misunderstanding, missed deadlines, and conflicts that could have been avoided. It's one of the fastest ways for a project to go sideways. Clear, consistent communication prevents confusion and creates a smoother project experience for everyone. Now, what to know in order to avoid it? Well, make sure you create a solid, rock solid communication plan before the project even kicks off. Outline who needs to know what, how often, and through what channels. Make sure everyone is on the same page about where and how to communicate and how often status updates should be shared so no one is left in the dark. You also want to tailor messages to your audience because not everyone needs, or really, let's be honest, wants the same level of detail. Use simple updates for stakeholders and save more detailed discussions for your team. You want to ensure clarity without overwhelming really anyone. Last, document everything, whether it's meeting notes, decisions, or next step. Keep a written record. It saves you from hearing, "I thought you said," down the road. Resource constraints. Resource constraints happen when, one, the people you need working on your project are pulled off. Let me tell you, this sucks because it affects everything. Two, team members have other projects that are competing for their time and attention. And three, you find out midway through your project that you need additional resourcing to complete the work. So why does all of this matter? Because teams under resource strain are more likely to feel stress and miss deadlines and compromise on quality. Without proper resourcing, even the best plans can fall apart. So how do we avoid this? I want you to start thinking about your project resources from day one. Do it in stages. Your first kick at the can with resourcing is with your scope statement when you ask yourself, who do I think needs to be on this project? The second stage is with your charter. You now have more information, so you get clearer and you ask yourself, based on everything that I'm trying to do I have all the right players? And the third stage is with your WBS action plan. You know you have the details of your project's task, and based on all the tasks, due dates, and responsibility, you can ask yourself the final question, can the team members complete all their assigned tasks by their due dates, or do I need additional resources to help them? Resistance to change. This is when stakeholders push back against new processes, tools, or objectives. And let me tell you, it's natural. People prefer the comfort of the familiar over the uncertainty of something new. And as they say, people will not change until the pain of staying the same outweighs the pain of making the change. So why does all this matter? Because resistance to change can lead to delays, reduce team productivity, and create friction among team members. And if it's left unaddressed, it can jeopardize the project's success. And believing me, you do not want that. So you have to consider two perspectives when it comes to the effects of change. There's the internal effects, which affects your project team and people supporting your project. And then there's the external effect, which affects the end user. You need to plan for both. Now, how do you do that? Well, there is a lot involved in planning for resistance to change. In section 3 of my Slay Project Management online course, I explain how to set up a structured change management process in the execution stage of your project. And this is going to help you prepare for the change, plan and manage the change, and reinforce and sustain the change. Because a structured change management process, it involves clearly explaining the process of the change and how it benefits the team and organization. It involves team members early to address their concerns and creates a sense of ownership by providing training and reassurance. It identifies change champions within the team or organization to promote and model the new approach. Don't forget to save your seat for my free project management training where you will learn 5 key elements to mastering projects that will help you achieve a project success rate going forward. I'll place the link for you down below. If you still have questions about project management risks, I dive into the topic further in this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you found this video helpful, I'd be grateful if you gave it a thumbs up. See you in the next video.